it's Laura and Jyoti again, our last installment of our stories of inspiring stories by Jyoti. So today we thought we'd talk with you firstly about our workshop that we've partnered together that is this Sunday, the 25th from 1 till 4. This is in Perth. In Thornley, which is south of the river. So I'm a little bit excited to see what's installed. Jyoti's got lots of amazing things that are happening, and these stories have just been a little tester, a little taster of what's actually going to be part of the course. So it is for 3 hours. And I'll let Jyoti share a little bit more about what it is, and we would love you to join us. So Jyoti, just tell us a little bit more about the course.
Yes, well, it's called Seeking the Way, and if you've listened to the story Jumping Mouse, which is a favourite story of mine.
Which was the very first one we did, yes.
Then you'll know that it takes you on a quest, and it's a quest to discover who you really are. And it's designed, this course, specifically for women. And so I go through a series with you of meditations and wonderful exercises and visualizations that assist you in a gentle but very trusting type of way. I always work straight from the heart.
Beautiful.
To help you as a woman to really integrate a lot of women these days are very busy with all manner of different bits and bobs, and it's very difficult for you to come right back into your heart, into your center. And I am very good at helping you to do that.
Awesome.
And so I invite you, if you've got that 3 hours, please come along, because you'll really get a lot from it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we were just speaking about the power of visualization before and how powerful it is.
Yes, it
and
is
what you just achieved on the weekend.
Yes.
So very, very exciting news. And being as a mum and rushing,
yes.
To be able to come and just be still and learn, and meditation is
come and be nurtured. I love to create a nurturing environment for women, especially because I know how hard pressed you all are. And that's my role in life, is to help you to feel like the wisdom of all that is enveloping you. So
so this once again is Sunday the 25th from 1 till 4. I will pop up the link for the details. And I think we'll get started into this story that you've got for us, Jyoti.
Yes, so, this is to encourage you as well.
Beautiful. Yes, Jenny, we are matching in colours today by default, so something must have been going on in the energy for us to that to happen. So beautiful. We will flip this round and get started. Thanks, Jyoti. Beautiful. Just before we start. Go for it, Jyoti.
Okay, so a long time ago, but only yesterday, in an ancient land, there was a village. And this was a village of poor people. They worked hard on the land. They were peasant people. And the women of that village, every month, they got together and they would all go off, and the men would really support them in that, because they knew how much better the women felt after they'd had their time, just this one day a month. And they would go off to this sacred grove of trees, and they'd sit under the trees all day, and older women would share some of their experiences, and everybody would get an opportunity to really be heard by all the other women. And so it was a very supportive, nurturing, loving time they had together. They'd take lovely food, of course, and they'd feel like they'd really been blessed that day, and the beautiful trees all around them made them feel very peaceful. And all come back down the path from the little grove of trees, giggling and happy, and the men would be so happy to see their women again and hand over the children back to them again. So it was a thriving village. But in their land at that time, the king had an argument with the neighbouring king. And as kings were apt to do, they decided to go to war. And so the king needed wood to make chariots and boats. So he sent his men out throughout the land to chop down trees and make the wood for the chariots and the boats to fight the war. The village heard that they were coming, that the men were marching down the road towards their little place. And the women said, "Oh, no, we can't have that. We can't have them come and chop down our grove of trees." And so the women decided that they would go and stand in a circle around their grove of trees. And along came the soldiers marching along like this, and at the head of them was the captain. And he was actually a good man. And the captain said, "Whoa, stop." Saw all these women standing there in their beautiful, simple saris, because it was actually India. Mm-hmm. And they dressed in their best that they could for their trees, and they were standing there. And the captain said, "What are you doing here, women? Get away. We have orders to cut down the trees." And the women said, "Please, no, no." They said, "Their trees are sacred to us. We have been going to these trees for hundreds of years, the women after the women after the women like this. And if you chop down our trees, you chop down our lifeblood. Please, Captain, no, don't do it." And the captain said, "But, we are soldiers. We have our axes and we have our swords. And you defy us, you defy the king." And they said, "Well, we don't want to defy you, but we want you to know how important these are." Now, the captain had a mother and he had a sister, and he knew women and he liked women and he respected them and he was touched. So he said, "Okay, for now, I will leave it be. I will go and find other trees." So off went the soldiers, march, march, march. They heard their boots disappearing, and the women, oh, thank goodness, they hugged each other and they hugged their trees. And their men said, "Oh, thank goodness, we were worried we might have to fight the soldiers and we might die." And the women said, "No, no, no, it's all right. We've done our best we can." And back went the captain with all the other captains to the king. And the king said, "Right, well, what are your quotas? What have you done?" And the captain said, "Oh, I'm sorry, Your Majesty, there was one place where I could not cut down the trees." And the king said, "What? You've disobeyed my command?" And the captain said, "Yes, Your Majesty." Now, the king knew this captain was a very good man. And he said, "Why? Why did you do that? You never usually do anything like this." And he said, "Well, Your Majesty, I was touched by this little group of peasant women who stood in front of the trees and pretty much said they'd rather die than have the trees chopped down." He said, "I know it's odd because they're only ordinary women, but that's what happened." The king said, "Right." He said, "Saddle up my stallion. Let us go and see these women." And the captain thought, oh no, what have I done? The women, what's going to happen to them? Oh no, he was so worried. But they all got on their horses, or the soldiers marched as well, and off they set. And the women heard they were coming, because the villagers would always send messages to one another. And they were frightened. They were very frightened, because this was the king. Mm. And they again dressed up in their best that they could, put on their best jewellery and their best beautiful saris, and they went to stand in front of their trees. And they said goodbye to their men, because they didn't know, perhaps they would kill them. And they stood there in front of the trees. Even some of the little girls had gone. And they stood there as proud as they could be. And King came marching up, he got off his horse, and he said, "How dare you, you ordinary women, I am your king, and I am fighting a war to safeguard your land." And they said, "Yes, Your Majesty, we know. We're very sorry about this, but we have to tell you that these trees are so important to us. They've been in our generations of women, and they mean so much. It is our lifeblood that literally runs through these trees. And if you cut them down, you cut us down too, because you cut down the women of your land. And we plead with you, please don't do it. We would rather die than you cut down our trees." The king stood back. He had never heard such a thing from very ordinary women with no education, not the high court women that he was used to. These peasant women were standing there. But this king had a good heart. And he said, "Okay, this time I will not cut down a grove of trees. I will leave them. And in fact, I will do more." He said, "I will from henceforth say that this grove of trees is sacred to the whole land, for it holds the lifeblood of all the women." And off he went, back to his castle, and he fought his war. And so from then onwards, that grove of trees was considered sacred throughout the land, and they stand there to this day. So that's the story of a group of brave women and what they stood for.
Wow. The stories are always empowering, Jyoti, and I just thought that for me was like the heritage, like you were saying, going back, back there, but also nowadays, what do we stand for? And do people really, really stand up for what they believe in? When people are passionate about their goals, do they really make them happen?
Yes.
And that's just what got me thinking is, when people put out, yes, I'm going to do this.
Yes.
Do they actually stand by their word and continue
Yes.
to do that?
Yes.
So
To have integrity.
yeah.
And to stand for, and I believe that many women, we know the value. I'm not saying that men don't, but the women's had to produce the babies and nurture them and carry the community. And for many women to hold on to that and to regain that, to know your community of women that you share with each other and what is important in this world, what really truly matters when all is said and done.
Yeah, and I guess also being a mother too, you sometimes get questioned a lot about your decisions as a mother and, whether you're making the right choices.
Yes.
And believing that, once again, standing for what you believe.
Yes.
Several times have I been questioned by the things that I do for my daughter, and knowing that the decision that I'm making is the right one. And that's, so there's lots and lots of meanings behind this story, I believe, and just
That is, yes.
yes. very, very true.
Yes.
So
the story's actually it's one of my cards in my Healing Earth book and deck. It's in the book, so you can read it.
Definitely.
Book and deck.
And we'll also pop up Jyoti's website, so you can explore a little bit more about what Jyoti does. But I would encourage you to, if you are in Perth, are in the Thornley area, to join us on Sunday the 25th.
Yes.
Yep, 1 till 4, which is really seeking our ways, and any words of wisdom for people that are just on the edge of wanting to come along but just a little bit unsure about what they'll achieve on the weekend.
Yeah, I would say just similar to that story, that what you'll achieve is a sense of your own integrity, of what really matters to you, what's the truth of you as a woman. And you'll also come away with this wonderful, warm feeling that you belong, that you're part of a group.
Yeah.
And it's so for all of us. I like to support and nurture everybody. So, I really urge you to come along. I've found time and again when I've run groups like this that everybody goes away beaming, smiling.
Absolutely.
And with more than they thought possible.
Yeah, exciting. And that's one of the things, all the events that I've run for the Law Inspire, HQ, people have come away feeling relaxed, revitalised, and are ready nearly to take on the world again, kind of that refreshed, they've got a new mindset, and this is just offering some more tools. So once again, Jyoti, thank you so much for the inspiring stories you've been sharing with us, and it might be something that we will continue on. We'll see how we go.
Yes.
So stay tuned, have a fantastic day, and we look forward to seeing you on Sunday.
Yes.
Bye.
We do.